Where do you start if you want to change the world? Is it by seeing a nation become energy self-sufficient? Helping charities to be as productive as businesses? By using their talents to give them a livelihood. Big changes like these can start with something small, like asking better questions. So where do you start if you want to change the world? You start right here.
Oh, good evening. Hi everyone, welcome to the Big Chief channel. Today is 26th of May and we are going to continue our series on branding tool hacks by our branding specialist, John Tan. Let's welcome him.
Yeah.
Hi John,
Hi, Leonard.
how's things going?
Things are always very good when I'm on air on
Fantastic.
Big channel.
Yes, so I'm sure you have a lot of tricks today for our audience, yeah?
Yeah, we shall continue as we promise. You can do your own brand strategy.
That's
This is
awesome.
not this is not like getting the consultant out of business, but you can actually do your own brand strategy if you make the effort. So today we continue with brand packaging.
Yeah, so today you're going to touch on the packaging for the products or the whole company per se.
Yeah, all sorts of things. We are talking about packaging, in terms of, you see, a brand can be a company, it can be a touristic place, it
Yeah,
can be a product, it can be a service. Of
yeah,
course, usually it's product, you package it, like we go to supermarket. So we will address that. I shall give some quick tips because packaging is a very broad subject, very, very broad. That's why consultants exist in the first place. Because it's broad, then consultant can con a bit. I'm just joking. Not con a bit. It's a very, very broad subject. But
yes,
today,
indeed.
I believe we tackle three key areas. It will give us a lot of insight as to how to package your product.
Now,
The
before we go deep into the topics that you're going to share today,
hmm,
can I just please allow me to ask you a question? Yeah. So
yep.
for this packaging, branding for your packaging, normally this project, do you consider it a big project, a medium or small project?
It
Like
is
for
very
example,
big.
it's
It
very
is
big,
very,
yeah.
yeah. And of course, like all things in life,
It takes a lot
there
of
are,
planning and
there
consideration,
are
yeah.
many factors that make a good brand. And
Mhm.
one of the key factors, surprisingly, is brand packaging. I mean, just like a human being, a person could have credibility and reputation, or without the visibility, or without the dressing up, isn't it? And
Yeah.
it is said that first impression is very important. So your brand packaging is the first impression people see you.
Okay, I'm going to ask you the second question now.
Mm.
Since the brand packaging is so important, now, if for an entrepreneur, how much should they invest on it?
How much? Very good question. I'm going to be very direct.
Yeah.
A lot of SME, SMI, of course, that's why they haven't got listed and they haven't got very big yet.
Yeah.
But it's encouraged that SME, SMI think big. As I
Mhm.
always share with people, it's not my idea. It's a very great concept thinking is think big, start small.
Mm.
Think big, start small. Allocate a good budget for it. But today, thanks to technology, there are a lot of good brand
Oh,
designers who
and
could
there are a lot
charge
of
us a
alternatives.
good price. Yeah, because technology is so widespread now.
Yeah.
Not like 30 years ago, You got to engage top agency to come up with very good design. And generally, is no fixed price. There's no fixed price. Remember the Olympics, London?
Yeah.
Olympics London some years back. The logo and the motif was created for 12 million pounds.
Wow.
A lot of money. Renault
Fantastic.
at one time got their logo design that was in the 1980s for 17 million. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but
Awesome, man.
no doubt they are a very big company, but you have to take, you use the word very well, research. It must be research. Yeah? Based on
I
the
see.
market, based on the competitors, and you do tests.
Yeah.
Now, many companies for overlook this. They are
Mm.
smaller brand agencies or smaller advertising agencies today, thanks to technology. And I mean, internet is so good at providing knowledge and samples and so forth. You can do a very good brand packaging design for much less than, you don't need seven figures.
Mm.
But definitely not 50 ringgit lah. Many people do brand
At
packaging.
a more affordable rates, yeah.
And then
And
they
there are a
go,
lot of alternatives, you can
yeah,
try out, you know.
go online and source your competition. What are they using? Look at what
Okay.
are the big brands are doing. The Coca-Cola, the Unilever will do it. Get an
Okay.
idea. Then talk to your ad agency. I want something like that.
Fantastic. Okay, so before I ask you the next questions, I want to welcome all our audience, Patricia, Michael, Andrew, and Christine Tay. Welcome to the show. Good
Yeah.
evening. Hope you guys are doing well. And please do help us to like and subscribe our YouTube channel and Facebook page. And do share with your friends because this branding tool hacks only comes from you, Big Chief channel, every week Thursday. Yeah. So remember to catch. We have a branding specialist sharing you a 6 to 7 figure plan. You know, to put your product and your services into the world, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. The next
And
question.
if I may add, Leonard, please
Yeah.
feel free
Sure.
to ask questions, and we would
Yeah.
like to
Yeah.
address them. Yeah.
Definitely. We welcome all questions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, Anthony. All right, John, let's get back to the works. Okay, so what about if there are people doing business, but they are carrying other people's brand? For
Carrying what?
example, we have agents, property
That
agents.
means
Yeah,
they are trade
yeah,
agents.
yeah.
Now there are two parties there, what we call the principal and the trade agent.
Mm,
Usually the principal will look into the packaging. However,
yeah.
if it's a brand is global, sometimes they go for cultural adaptations.
Okay.
For instance, all the world generally, you have some countries that are very pluralistic, some countries that are more Islamic, some countries that are more Chinese, some countries that are more Indian. I use inverted comma because the culture aspect of it. Culture aspect has a lot of bearing into the choice of colors,
Mhm.
choice of typeface. In advertising, we say typeface. Generally, people use the word font,
Mm,
and of course, the personality, yeah,
I see.
of your
Great.
brand. Yeah.
So, when you're talking about branding, you're usually going to break it down, right? You're going to
Mm.
break it down like your packaging, you have maybe your brand name, the logo, the
Yep.
identity, how it looks, how it feels. Does it feel luxury? Does it feel affordable? And things like that. So, what are you going to share with us today?
Yeah. Just now I was saying when we started, there are
Mm,
three key pointers I would like to address today. So
yeah.
far, Leonard, you're asking brilliant question, but as I said, the subject is very broad. So if you can like now zero in on three key factors. First is brand name and or identity. Afterwards, I
Mm,
will explain what that term means. Second, you want to look at the aesthetics versus
mm,
the functionality. and functionality would mean innovation. I shall explain afterwards. And then, of course, the third, if you go to the supermarket, last week I asked this question. Is it Andrew? Wait. We ask next week on brand pioneering. So the third one is if you go to the supermarket, you like to buy a certain type of product, whether it's food or detergent, whatever. And this supermarket having a promotion day today, the first 10 customers to go in, you can buy 500 worth of products without a cent. The third factor relates to this persuasive messages on your packaging. Yeah, persuasive.
Persuasive.
Persuasive, of course, that has to do with positioning. Yeah,
Yeah.
and you notice practically all brands, if they don't do it, then they're missing out. You always need a USP, unique selling proposition. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's look at detergent. One would have BioSolve, one would have a drywall soap or whatever. Right? It could be the same power detergent, right? But you need to come up with your own name, so that makes you different, ma. So so starting with this third factor, a teaser here now. The audience are highly invited to give your answer. You see 10 brands there. None of it is your favorite brand. Which one would you pick? The attractive one? Leonard, you are muted. The attractive ones.
Yeah. You will choose the first one that attracts your eye first. The
So
tech.
that is aesthetic, or they have a very persuasive message.
Yeah.
You know, just one spoon can clean 5 kilogram of clothes. No one dares to claim it. So all these are elements that attract the consumer. Of course, we must tell the truth. There are two types of advertising: truthful advertising and bad advertising.
Not overselling. Yeah.
Ah, Not only overselling, some are telling lies.
Mm.
They've done
Yeah.
research. A lot of people do not trust advertising, but these are thanks to the unethical advertisers and brands.
Matrix.
Yeah, but they don't last long in the market. As we say in the advertising industry, you can fool people only once, not
Now,
twice or three times.
I okay. This Andrew Richards brought up a point here. Now, I also realize that nowadays many products or many companies are using the environmental friendly tech.
Yes, because
You know.
do we know why? Because about not exactly the time. I just estimate about 1990s onwards, sustainability became a hot topic. Yeah,
Yeah.
it started the wave, but nobody took much. Not many people took much notice of it. The last 10 years, yes, sustainability has really driven into a lot of brands and advertisers' minds. So, Andrew, you're right. Best quality and environment friendly. Yeah, you have to address that.
Well, can you put one example of environmental friendly? Some products
Mm.
are designed not to last.
What do you mean?
Well, I think this is not a myth. We know that those days they built a product that can last for 10 and 20 years or forever. Yeah.
Mm,
But then slowly they realize if I make a product for you and it lasts for more than 10 years, that
yeah.
means you're going to buy the next one at 10 years later,
Yeah, that is pure business sense, and it makes sense as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I've been doing a lot of advertising for lots of brand, including electrical appliances. So I asked the chief engineer there. He
Hmm.
said, "How long can your aircon last?" Oh, we designate how long it will last by using how many hours. Because, like you said, Leonard, if it lasts forever, how can people buy again, right? So that's not cheating. That's not bad advertising. That is just business sense, isn't it?
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, correct. Okay, so and following by that,
Mm,
you were also mentioning about the aesthetic and functionality
yeah,
of your brand packaging.
yeah,
All right. What do you mean by functionality of the brand
yeah.
packaging?
Aesthetic and functionality. Yeah? We have dealt
Yes.
with the third one, persuasive message. Let's do with the second, aesthetic and functionality. Yeah? And then for
Yes.
the last, we go into the brand name
Me.
and identity. Yeah? Now, aesthetics we know, yeah, style, nice,
Mm.
beautiful. Of course, we need that. That is what we call generally style. But you also need substance. Substance means what we call solid evidence that you're a good product, what you claim for. So functionality would mean the design as of the canister or the bottle or the shape and the size must be functional. Yeah. Because aesthetic, you could do a very different container. Let's say soft drink, right? Isn't it?
Yes.
But why does not every brand does that? It costs a lot to come up with a unique shape, Yeah, it costs a
Yeah.
lot, huh?
Correct.
And it's in the seven figure to configure a production line with a different shape, right?
Mm.
So only the very big brands can have the margin to do that, isn't it?
Yeah.
And once somebody comes up with that shape, other people follow, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not because they want to copycat, but it becomes a trend, isn't it?
Trend. Yeah.
Yeah. So why don't I do something else? It costs a lot. It costs a
Yeah.
lot. Now,
Which comes to say, I was looking for some pastry, yeah,
ah,
and I came across these wraps, the wraps where you put, wraps.
yep,
And the packaging, I was very surprised. They design in such a way you don't have to tear or open. There is
ah,
already a design where you can simply just lift it open and close it back, so
yeah,
that the eight pieces of wrap you can like eat for the 2 or next 3 days without any.
yes, yeah.
I think it's
That's
fantastic.
that's the meaning of function. But then
I see
again,
that. Mhm.
you must have eaten a mid-range to high-range brand, right?
Hmm.
Lower range brand cannot afford that.
Yes, yes,
Sometimes I get very irritated just to open something. Those are the lower brand, lower cost, right?
yes, yes, yes.
Brand good cost. Oh,
Yeah.
everything nice, you preserve everything. Now that is functional. Yeah, functional. It's
So,
important
meaning
because
if you are designing a packaging with aesthetically nice and also a functionality in the packaging,
yeah,
will it allow you to have a sell at a better price?
definitely it will sell at a better price and the sales will increase. And functionality would also include innovation.
Wow, awesome.
Let's say you're selling a certain type of fruit juice, be the first to have a certain nozzle which nobody has. And if people like that, they don't mind paying a bit more. Because I mean today's world is always about convenience, and you don't like to spill your canister or a box, isn't it? And
Yeah,
people, it's very common. We not a good practice, but most of us do it. We eat and drink in the car, correct or not?
yeah.
So such innovations are very useful. Yeah.
Now, can I ask you another question? Because so far we have quoted a lot of these examples that are
Mm.
tangible product, all right?
Yeah.
Product where you can touch, feel, eat, right? What about for product that is non-tangible? For example, a service. How do you package your service or make a packaging for your service to make it aesthetic or function?
Now
How does it
your
apply?
your service comes under a brand, all right? Either a
Yeah.
corporate brand or a brand by itself. Let's look at insurance. You always have the main brand there, and then you have a brand that relates to medical, another brand that relates to investment, whatever, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So number one, you should have the overall corporate look, and individual product category. You need a look to itself.
You mean the agent have to have that profile look or something like that?
So the corporate, the brand must be done well to
Yeah.
represent that service. Yeah? And
Yeah.
then of course the agent must match the quality and standard of the brand. So that comes under brand culture, which a good brand would educate all their agents, all their in-house staff as well as external.
That's why we see so many agents dressed to kill. Yeah.
Of course, first impression important, especially if you are selling a financial product, which
Mm.
costs money. You don't need to dress very fashionable because it's not a fashionable product. Having said that, if you're selling fashion, please be fashionable, isn't it? You must walk the talk, because first customer is myself, that I believe in it, then you also can trust that I have used it and it's good. And the MLM company know this very well. MLM has changed the business model the last 20 years. It's no longer about building membership. It's about I have used it, then I recommend to you. So that's very important. So your packaging would, like I say, very broad. It would include how you design your building, how you design the visitor area.
Fantastic point
This
there.
is
I think it applies to many people, especially for entrepreneurs who are doing small business where they are carrying other principals' product,
mm,
and they have to emphasize that they have to dress or package themselves according to the product they're selling.
yeah, the
Yeah,
principal would have a sort of SOP to how to
a
project
guideline or something
yourself.
like that.
Yes,
Yeah.
how to project yourself. Example. I mean, an
Mm.
extreme example. If if your principal is selling something that's related to spiritualism, right? You cannot have an uncouth, uh, uncouth, ill-mannered person to represent your principal's brand, isn't it? Right? So it
Yeah,
got to be matching of values and
matching.
principle, yeah,
Yeah,
and personality. So
personality.
I believe we are almost coming to half hour. Let's tackle the first factor, Leonard.
Yes,
First,
please.
talk about the first factor. The first factor is your brand name and your brand identity. Brand
Mm.
name is as per what it says, brand name. Brand identity would include three key things: the values your brand stand for. Yeah, what's important to your brand. Second, the personality of the brand. Is it a funky brand, or is it a family brand, or is it for everyone across the board, or is it a very young brand, or is it a very futuristic brand? And third is the positioning. How do you position your product as a leader, or as one of the key players, or as a new kid in town? So all this must be considered when we design the brand logo or logo type. Brand logo has two meanings. Brand logo could be pictorial, could be with image, could be a mix of pictorial, image, and words. So we call that a brand logo plus logo type. Some brand, just whatever comes to my mind, like ESSO, they only use the logo type. That means it's just words. Yeah? It's just words. The danger of just using a logo, pictorial, or image without the logo type is dangerous unless you have become very famous, like Nike, like BP, like
Adidas and
Shell.
so on and so forth.
But
Yeah.
otherwise, it's best to have your logo type, your brand name, make it very easily visible. Well, aesthetics is important, but communication is more important. I always give this a test when I do training on branding. I said, today you walk along Jalan Bukit Bintang, because I go there a lot. Just example, whatever street. You walk the street is about few hundred meters. Tell me five brands that you remember most. What would these brands be?
McDonald,
Yeah,
MD,
we're not talking about you remember because they're famous. You remember because of their brand name and logo design.
Well,
So it
if
could
you
be a
ask
brand you
me,
never heard of, isn't it?
yeah, if you ask me that question, I would say because usually every day I travel the same route
Mm,
to work,
mm,
and I will pass by the same billboards for a period of time, and
mm.
those are the more the first thing I remember.
Yeah, of course, if they advertise a lot and they put a lot of budget into it, you will see them and remember. The question is this: the challenge is this: what brands do you remember is based on simplicity of communication? Many designers forget that they just like to do something very nice. They choose a typeface, where stylish. Only he can read it. That's a bad design. Because aesthetics would also mean it has to be communicable to another person. And
Easily
people,
understood by
yeah,
the your viewers, yeah,
yeah,
by
people
your
move
audience.
fast even when you're not driving, you're walking. You know, the only there are only two people who look at and study advertising: the advertising agent and the brand manager. Don't study advertising. You attract me, then I know your brand. So that is a test I always give the participant. Yeah.
I see.
Because knowing that is important, we don't do something that beautiful, fantastic typeface. No one
So
needs.
elaborated, but
Yeah.
actually you can't bring a message or you can't communicate with your audience, yeah.
Come out with your own typeface.
Yeah,
Today, more people are getting lazy. Thanks to
yeah,
technology, we get the Adobe suitcase. So many.
yeah.
Up to before internet came on the air in about 95,
Mm,
every brand came up with their own typeface.
yeah,
Then when internet came aboard, people got pampered. The suitcase, this that initially they buy, after that become free, right? So what they
yeah.
do is just pick Futura and do it. No, that's not the way to do.
That's like not too. You're just taking it too easy, lah. You're not putting
It
some
doesn't
essence.
stand out.
Yeah,
So you see, like Sharp, which I've handled, it has its own typeface.
yeah,
You look at the Matsushita, its own typeface. The Gianni Versace, of course, those fashion brands that work on have their own typeface.
and the I
Hotel.
company, the M company,
Yeah.
all these have their own typeface.
But lately, the last 10 years, I observed, because I'm in this field,
Yeah,
many people take the lazy way out. Just take from whatever online and use it. That's not the way to come up with your own look. Your own look.
they could have saved maybe $1,000 or $2,000 for the new typeface design, but at the end, it doesn't work for the company. Yeah,
Yeah, have your own look, have your own look,
yeah. Fantastic,
but
fantastic,
must be legible and easily communicable.
fantastic.
Sometimes
So,
I do a lot of walking and I see the sign. I see the sign, like you see a sign over and over. I see a sign over and over 5 times. I don't know what brand is this because I cannot read the typeface. The brand has appointed the ad agency and wasted the money. You say not?
it's like they being there for the sake of being there, right? They just want
Yeah,
to put there just for the sake
the
of being
Shop's
there.
interior, the designer, oh, I can
Yeah,
read it. Of course, you can read it because you design it, isn't it?
yeah, yeah.
But the real test of a successful brand name logo design is, can people read it and understand it straight away? Straight away, because people move fast. People don't stop and look and study logo.
I'm sure that would take up a lot of brain hours into it, right?
a lot.
A
Which is
lot.
why some brands spend a lot on money to design. Plus,
Mm.
design eventually is subjective. Although you study the target audience, although you go for research, although you go for what do you call it, the people to come in and give you feedback, whatever. So that costs money. All this focus group, and plus the fact that design is subjective. So
Yeah.
a lot of hours are spent into it. A lot of hours are spent.
Awesome.
Yep.
So let's check for a bit if there's any questions from the audience. If there's no, I'll just like to summarize the topic that has been discussed today, which is brand packaging.
Mm.
And our brand specialist has highlighted three main points here, which is brand name and identity, the aesthetics and functionality of the packaging, and also the persuasive message. Yeah. So these three pointers worth five figure. Yeah, we can safely say. So this is all free for you from Big Chief channel. Yeah. Thanks
Yeah.
to John Tan. Yeah. So remember, do watch our replay in YouTube or Facebook. Get your friends if they are just started in business or they are already in business and they would like some pointers in branding. Please share this video to them. Yeah. So thank you again, John Tan, for your generosity, for teaching us about this wonderful topic. And I would like to say thank you to all audience who spend your precious time with us. I do hope that you will continue to support us. We are on air from Monday to Friday in Facebook and YouTube at our Big Chief Studio channel. Yeah. So for now, good night. How?
How? All right.
Yeah. All right.
Bye.
Have a good day, John and everyone. See ya.
Thank you very much, Leonard.